What's up YouTube, Harvey 1997 here with a deck profile. Today my deck profile is going to be of my Draco pals. Shoutouts to everyone at Pojo Forums on the Pendulum Conglomerate thread. You are all very helpful in this. This is basically your deck. I've made some personal tweaks along the way. We've all helped in the discussion, but the idea came from there. Shoutouts to all of them who chipped in with their many ideas. Alright, so we'll start off with the main deck. We're running one Luster Pendulum Draco Slayer because that's all we're allowed to play. Let's see. And we have 3 Master Pendulum the Draco Slayers because this is, as we call it on Pojo Forums, master.deck. And 1 Vector to combo with Draco Face-off. I don't like Lecter, he kind of bricks. Getting off Face-off, meh, it's not that great. So for the Perform Pal engine, we have 1 Monkeyboard and 1 Skullcrobat Joker, all we're allowed to play. Then we have 3 copies of Perform Pal Pendulum Sorcerer, the best one in here aside from Monkeyboard. He's what makes your Pot of Greed plays good, he helps load your extra deck, yada yada. We have 3 Perform Pal Lizardraws. Now 3 may seem a bit questionable, but I'll explain later. As well as 1 Guitartle to combo with the Lizardraw and help with Pot of Greed combo. We have 1 Perform Pal Odd Eyes Light Phoenix, and my tech choice I have 2 Odd Eyes Unicorns. This came up in testing a lot at my locals because most of them would always go for my high scale if they destroy 1, thinking, oh, if he has a low scale, then he can't activate Monkeyboard to search for another scale. So hitting the high scale is the better one. But then I'll show them I have another Odd Eyes Unicorn in deck, and it's like, oh, well, since it's searchable off Sky Iris, it just makes it that much easier to grab. Plus, having more targets for Sky Iris is always good because this deck has a lot of fuel for it. Alright, so then we're running 3 Magical Abductors. The Abductor, it adds pendulum monsters from your deck to your hand, and it can also search your effect veiler if it's in the monster zone. It's all around a very good card. Opening this plus any of your power spells is amazing. We're running 3 Archfiend Eccentrics. It makes your turn 2 very good if you lose a dice roll. Makes you actually able to play. It does still lose the anti-spell, but then again, what pendulums don't? Then we have 3 Rescue Hamsters. So now your targets for Rescue Hamster are, let's see, we have Archfiend Eccentric. Magical Abductor is a target, but it usually doesn't matter about it. This is another good reason why we run 3 Perform Pal Lizardraws, because if you have a Lizardraw in your extra deck, then you can use Rescue Hamster to summon 2 more hamsters from the deck. Past that, we have our Pendulum Sorcerer, which doesn't come up a whole lot, but it is nice to make him, summon 2 more of him from the deck if you open 2 hamsters or some weird combination. And then the main reason you run it is for the 3 masters, because if you have access to 1 master, hamster will grab you your other 2, thus making your 3 masters all 3 on the board from the very beginning. You have an immediate 5 monster pendulum summon. It's just wonderful. Then a couple tech choices I have are Satellarknight Zefraxciton, which I will get to in a moment. That rounds up the pendulum monsters. Since I am running Brilliant Fusion, 1 Gem-Knight Lazuli, and then to combo with Magical Abductor, 1 Effect Veiler. I'm thinking about cutting it. It doesn't come up a whole lot. When it has, it's very, very good. It just doesn't come up too often. For the spells, we have 1 Draco Face-off, all that we're allowed to play. 2 Painful Decision, amazing card, gets access to 2 masters with 1 card, very good. 3 Brilliant Fusions, you want to see it as fast as possible. It adds a master to your hand, and it summons your Seraphnite to give you an extra normal summon, very good since you're playing Hamster, another normal summon this deck needs. If you open this plus Hamster, you're in great shape. This plus Abductor, you're in great shape. All 3, you're probably going to win just from those 3 cards. Your other 2 cards in hand might as well be irrelevant. Not that they don't matter, but I mean, they might as well be. So, moving on, we have 1 Sky Iris. And I guess I should call this the field spell engine, because I have 1 Sky Iris, 1 Oracle of Zefra, and 3 Terraformings. You run Sky Iris because it's great in this deck. I don't like to see more than one. It's very cloggy past that. But for the rest of it, Oracle of Zefra, it has other effects, but the main thing that matters is it acts like a Tenki. When you activate it, you search for a Zefra from your deck. You do have to have your Zefraxciton in the deck to activate it, kind of like Tenki, but nonetheless, it makes your terraformings more live. So if you like open Sky Iris and the terraforming, in the standard deck that most people play, you'd just be searching for another Sky Iris and you'd be working with 3 cards in your hand. But if you open these in this build, then you'll search your Oracle, activate it first, search a Zefraxciton, and then activate this over your Oracle. Thus, you've turned this dead card from a Sky Iris into a Zefraxciton in your hand. It definitely helps make Terraforming live because this card and Sky Iris make Abductor ridiculously easy to pull off turn 1, and that's one of the main points that this deck makes. So you like to get as much as you can. Moving on to the extra deck, we have 1 Ignister, all that we're allowed to play. That's it for the synchros. There's not really much to say about that. 3 Dinosters. Master deck. Dinoster is one of your best cards. It also makes rank 8 plays. It's amazing. Plus, it makes your painful that much better. Gem-Knight Seraphnite, I'm running Brilliant Fusion, not much to say. On the Exceses, I have 2 Majester. I've been thinking about cutting it down to 1. I really like having a second one. But I'm thinking about cutting it out for a second Dweller, but it hasn't came up yet that I've desperately needed a second Dweller, nor has it really come up that I've desperately needed one of these, but making 2 of these turn 1 is great if you do it. Okay, so moving on, we have 1 Diamond Direwolf, staple for the extra deck, especially with this, and even better, since we are running a Rescue Hamster, you can, if you summon Rescue Hamster, summon 2 more Rescue Hamsters from the deck with effect, you can make Diamond Dire to destroy Rivalry, if that happens to you, so that most people don't see that coming. It's very nice. We have the 1 Dweller, again, been kind of floating back and forth between a second Dweller and a second Majester, but it is what it is. You have 1 39 Utopia and 1 S39 Utopia Lightning. That essentially rounds up the rank 4 monsters, and I guess the rank 5, if you will. And you're probably wondering what the rest of the extra deck is. Since we have Dinoster, you can make these with Ignister, but you typically just go for Dinoster. We have number 38, negate spells, very good card. Also, it makes it so if you have this and your Dweller both out in your field, which is a very common first turn opening, one of your most common opening turns will be the 3 of these monsters. You'll make 2 of these as well as 2 Dinosters, overlay the Dinosters for this. If you have 5 Pendulum monsters and 2 of those monsters are Masters, or I guess it could be Luster too, I think, but yeah, you need access to 2 Masters to make those loops, and if you do, you're in very good shape for that. You make those 3 monsters and you're good to go. Alongside him for our rank 8, we have number 15, Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder. His effect, it's probably not going to come up. It's there should you somehow need it, but for the most part, he's only there because he's a rank 8 Dark, and he takes 2 materials. You could use number 23 if you'd like. However, I found in testing that most opponents will just bait out number 23 with like a dead spell or trap, like they'll chain MST or something, force him to use his effect so you can't go into your next monster. But you use him to rank up into number 84 Pain Gainer, which if you have Dweller on your field it's one of the best combos this deck has to offer. So what it does, it gains defense equal to your total ranks times 200, so it's already at 2200. This plus Dweller, it's at 3000. Detach a material to blow up all monsters with less defense than his on your opponent's field. Pretty much everything's going to have less than 3000 defense. It's just about guaranteed. And then overlay on top of 84 into number 77, the 7 Sins, who won't be able to activate his effect immediately, but you mainly use him for the fact to get that 4000 swing in. Plus, if he's still alive on your next turn, his effect is godly. That rounds up the extra deck. I do have a side deck ready, however, it's not really worth mentioning for this video because my locals I usually play this at is not necessarily irrelevant, but it's not quite the meta you would expect at like a regionals or a YCS or something like that. So you make your side deck how you will. That's completely up to you. I will say this deck has been working great. It doesn't have quite the bricks that the Ariadne deck tends to have. It doesn't quite have as much of a higher ceiling as that, but it nonetheless, it's still very good. You give up a little bit of power for much more consistency. But yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.